Hey there, everybody. This is Shelly, your mouthy mama at Talking Trash and Truths. And here we are going to discuss the 5 signs that you are dealing with a covert narcissist. Let's jump right in.
Covert narcissism is a less obvious, but equally damaging, form of narcissistic personality disorder. Here are 5 signs to identify it in someone you may know. First, they have an insatiable need for validation. They constantly seek approval and attention, but in a sneaky and subtle way. Second, they are highly sensitive to criticism and have a fragile self-esteem. They may appear modest, but they are deeply invested in their own image. Third, they use manipulation techniques like guilt tripping or playing the victim to get what they want. Fourth, they lack empathy. They struggle to understand and care about the feelings of others. Lastly, they have a sense of entitlement. They believe they deserve special treatment and privileges.
So, knowing these 5 things, and these are just 5 out of many, covert narcissists happen to be very sneaky. These 5 things, you could have seen them all in the Depp trial when watching Amber Heard. She was one thing to the world and another thing behind closed doors. She projected everything that she did to Johnny Depp as something that was done to her. She turned every situation where she hurt him, even if it was videotaped, even if it was recorded, it doesn't matter. She insisted she was the victim. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. And that's what the covert narcissist excels at. They take the entire crowd of people you're in and they work at them and they chip away and they do the little confidences where, oh, he's just a little mean to me. Or, oh, no, but I know he loves me. They try to make it out like they're just so altruistic and so wonderful. They're putting themselves forward. They're forgiving this person for their transgressions every time. Amber Heard said it. She said, oh, I just couldn't stay away from him. She kept going back to him. But that's what she showed the world. Behind closed doors, she used every manipulative tactic to turn him inside out that she could. She sought attention no matter what, especially from him. And it didn't matter if it was good attention or bad attention. Attention is attention. It fills the need. She needed his supply. And what she did was she drained him dry on a daily basis of everything that he enjoyed in life. She chipped away until he was a shell of a man who didn't even think he was worth anything. I mean, this is goddamn Johnny Depp. The man is hilarious. He can play anything. He's got a good heart. I mean, yeah, as far as we know, we can only know celebrities so well, but we kind of got to know him very well on that witness stand. And his testimony about his childhood and everything was very much exactly how a multiple trauma survivor speaks. And don't get me wrong, like he was still in his traumas during that trial. Now he seems to be, steadier. He's on his own. He's enjoying life because he doesn't have this huge lie hanging over him. Some of us are not that lucky. Some people have groups that just don't let shit go. Thankfully, his played out on a public screen, in a global forum, because it became global. None of us had ever seen a courtroom battle like that. And yet on paper, some of what she said seemed plausible, which is why you always have to, confront a person directly, because something could seem true, but then you talk to the person and you're like, no, this doesn't sound right. That's what she did. She sowed seeds of dissension. She sowed seeds of discord. And she went around talking about him behind his back. Oh, he's drinking too much. Oh, he's too high. Oh, no, this black and blue, this isn't what you think. Everything's fine. Yeah, okay, what black and blue? I've had bigger black and blues walking past a door frame that I didn't see in time. And that's just a slight bump. I've been hit in the face dozens of times. You bruise. You don't bruise like she bruised. you bruise, and they don't go away overnight or in 2 days. Even the smallest bruise I've had on my face is at least 5 to 6 days. And you have to go through all the stages of the colors. It goes from red to reddish purple to blue to black to green to yellow and then gone. Maybe I screwed up the colors, but I've only been awake like a half an hour, so give me a break. I'm just saying, and I'm losing my voice, obviously. Covert narcissism is really, it's something that's much more dangerous than you would think. You're like, oh, well, since they're hidden, they can't always be that all the time. The thing with coverts is they have flying monkeys. They have minions. They have little hangers-ons that can't admit that maybe their friend is lying, can't admit that they were wrong for doing what they do. When they say in for a penny, in for a pound. Well, when you say one lie and you corroborate somebody else's even bigger lie, you're screwed. Unless you're willing to stand up and say, hey, I was going through a hard time and I did what they wanted me to do to keep the peace, to get some peace of mind for myself. Unless you can say that and genuinely be apologetic for your behavior, you're still their flying monkey. And it's very, very hard to stand up to a covert narcissist because they worm their way into your life so completely that you don't realize they're there until they're everywhere, until you wake up with nothing but them on your mind, because you have to get that approval, that validation, because they hold it just out of reach. The coverts are a lot of backhanded compliments. Oh, isn't he great? He's so great. Not bad for an old man. That's a backhanded compliment, especially when somebody's sensitive about their age. And Johnny was. Johnny went from being this teenage heartthrob to this much older man that she kept calling fat and old and this and that. She really did a number on breaking him down. She took all his power for years. And then when he finally slammed the door, because this is what a covert narcissist will always do. When you shut that door and you take away that supply, they become enraged. You don't see it, but their victim gets to feel the backlash. And they're usually working with somebody who's just as devious as them and just as ridiculous, just as heartless. And you just look at these people and you're like, but what did I do to you? Other than walk away to save myself. Doesn't matter. You either stay and get destroyed or you leave and they try to destroy you. The best thing you could do with a covert is just cut them off. You cut off the supply, you cut off the attention, you deny them everything they want, and you turn around and you live well. You live your best life. You get out there and you meet people and you love and you take risks and just don't engage. Anybody who sees what these people are doing to you, anyone who sees what you're going through, even the subtle little changes, they're going to investigate. If they care about you, they're going to look into it themselves, and they'll find out that your stories are not only highly believable, but they're provable and they're consistent. Whereas the covert and their, flying monkeys, their stories change. Their behaviors change. They use people that they had previously thrown away. I mean, they welcome them back with open arms. Come here, because they're useful idiots. They like to have their useful idiots. That's what they do. They just use people. They don't have emotions. They don't have a guilty conscience. But they're charming, or they're funny, or they're intense, or they make it seem like their way is the only way. And how dare you leave me after all this? We've been so loyal. Did you not hear Amber Heard? After everything I've done for you, Johnny, what did she do besides fuck him? I mean, I'm dead serious. What did she do? She screwed up his whole life. She tried to ostracize him from his family. both immediate and extended. She tried to play it off like he was some drug addict going to do drugs with his own kid when all he wanted to do was hang out with his daughter, and she's outside. Don't leave me. I'm dying. I can't take this. The stress is literally killing me. You know, I I've dealt with these people many, many times. And you always go in thinking, oh no, they care. They're interested in me, because that's how they set it up. They set you up where they love bomb the hell out of you. And it's romantic and it's sweet and it's whatever. And in the end, they didn't feel shit for you. You were a means to an end. You were their ticket down easy street. You were the distraction so that, oh, look at me, I'm hanging with really talented people, even though I have no talent myself. Amber Heard was the first narcissist I ever saw actually expose herself on camera. In many ways, expose herself. But the Amber Turd thing, that was a messy situation. And it didn't matter if you noticed, as you watch the trial, as you listen to the audio tapes, she has either a rationalization, an excuse, or a denial for each one. She even changes the definitions of words. Oh, I use pledge and donate synonymously. No, you don't. Nobody does. That's, I think, what killed most people for her. Like, they were like, no, none of us use that synonymously ever. One is a promise and one is an action. It's the fulfillment of that promise. And she made a promise and she broke her word, which for her is par for the course. She hit him with things. He had scars. She said, oh, look at my face. She cut his finger off. Not directly, but allegedly, she cut his finger off with that bottle. I completely believe that. I've been hit from across the room. People are like, what the hell? I've had, scars. I've had so many fucking scars. And everybody's like, oh, they just brush it off. They're like, oh, I was concerned at the time. Really? Because you didn't say anything. You didn't step up. Nobody did anything. Why? Well, because I didn't want her mad at me, or I didn't want him mad at me. And that's how it goes. They know. Behind the scenes, people know. They observe. They figure it out. But because she was such a monster and she was so ruthless, nobody wanted that smoke. And I've been there. I've been there where these little like cult leaderish people, they gather their people together and it's, oh, we're going to take everything by storm. We'll make her pay. Well, okay. The only way that the narcissist can really get to you is if you give them the power to. And sometimes you just got to get to the point in your life where you're like, you know what, this person is absolute garbage. And I'm just not going to entertain them anymore. I refuse to let someone else dictate my moods and my image. Like my reputation. Why would you allow somebody in like that? You wouldn't normally, but this is the type of person who sneaks in. They get in and you care about them. And so you're more likely to turn a blind eye to them, to their antics, to the things they say. It's only later in hindsight when you're like, oh my God, how did I not see this? Because it seems so obvious, but the manipulation is real. It's real and it goes deep. There's a lot of narcissistic relationships that you might not fully recover from, but you'll learn to adapt. You will. You just can't give up. You can't let them win. And what's the best thing to do? Live well. This is the way. So I didn't plan on doing this video, but then I saw that two friends of mine were doing a they're doing a live stream where they go back and look at, bits of the case or whatever. I'm not entirely sure what their format is yet, but I'm interested to see what happens. So I thought I'd do this and give them a little cross promotion, while I explain covert narcissism, so that you go into the trial knowing, hey, look for these 5 things. You'll see them all over the place. You'll see the lies. You'll see her constantly puffing herself up like, I volunteered in a soup kitchen. Yeah, I volunteered in a soup kitchen as a teenager can easily be something that is court mandated. Just saying. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying it's a coincidence that she had to work in a soup kitchen and it just followed her possible arrest at like 16 years old. So just saying. Coinky dink. I was going to go through this and edit it and everything, but seriously, I have no voice and I have no patience left. If you'd like, I talk a lot more in depth in other videos on my channel, both in the videos and in my lives about narcissism, but all sorts of mental health issues like CPTSD. I talk about how narcissists use gaslighting to convince you that no, you're not seeing what you actually saw. And no, it doesn't matter that you have my voice on tape. Obviously, it's out of context. It's edited. It's this, it's that. It's always somebody else's fault. These people are never responsible for their own actions, for their own words. To this day, Amber Heard is still lying to try to convince people that she didn't lie then. That is a horribly fantastic obsession with her version of the truth. She knows damn well she's a lying sack of shit. She's Amber Turd. However, she'll never give up the narrative. She will never admit that she was the one who abused Johnny. She was the one who lied. She was the one who frivolously spent his money. She was the user. She was the abuser. And she tried to play the victim. And while that may have worked in the UK, because apparently the judges and the people can be a little titty that run the parliament or whatever the hell court system they have. I mean, that's probably why we didn't want to be there anymore. But I don't know what kind of system they have, but apparently you're allowed to lie in court and get away with it. You're allowed to go to dinner with the judge. You're allowed to do whatever you want. Here we have a bit more integrity, I would hope, but they did Johnny dirty here too. Until that court case. I have no doubt if that had not been televised, that would not have gone the way it did. Because you had mainstream media getting online and getting on the, on the press or whatever, saying, no, he did this. What trial were you watching? Because that wasn't the one I saw. So I'm excited for my friends to be revisiting this. So here's the cross promotion. We have creators, YouTube content creators, Jessica Reloaded and Shizzy Wisnut doing a Depp vs. Heard trial rewatch. And that will be starting October 20th, today, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So in 13 hours. Oh, dear God. 13 hours? That'll start my weekend. They're going to revisit the trial that took the world by storm and brought millions together. It sure as shit did. It brought me here. Her denying him his voice made me determined to give as many people voices as I could. I hated seeing what she did to him, how she broke him down. The way he would, I call it turtling, the way he would curl in on himself. The way he always walked with his head down, trying to hide himself behind the hair. The ponytail was the best thing he ever did because he had to face the things he didn't want to face. And I think that helped him get beyond it. It helped him grow as a person. We don't always want to face what hurts. We usually run from it. I ran from it for decades. Come to find out, It didn't hurt me that much. I was holding on to the pain of a little girl who had nobody to give it to. So eventually I got strong enough that I took it and I said, okay, it's mine now. You go play. I guess she didn't have that growing up. Maybe she was born like this. Maybe they made her into this. I don't know. But I know that she's a really disgusting human being. And I know many just like her. They're users. They're the abusers of the world. They're the boy that cries wolf. You know, oh my goodness. No, look at me. I'm the victim. Ha 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 ha. You just never hear the ha ha ha. That's in their head. Because they know they got you. They know if they get whiny and bitch and whatever enough that people are going to say, all right, I'll listen to you. Or they know they can charm their way back in. Charm their way to a larger, world. It's sad how many of them are out there. But please, say for yourself. I know I'm losing my voice. I am so sorry. This whole video is crap, but I'm going to put it out anyway because it's 5 a.m. and I got nothing else to do. So please tune in or rewatch Jessica Reloaded and Shizzy Wiznut on YouTube. They might be on Rumble. I'm not entirely sure, but I know they're on YouTube. Starting tonight, it's Friday night, October 20th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That would be 3:30 p.m. Pacific. So please tune in, watch them, give them a rewatch, leave all the likes, do all the YouTubey things for them that you can. And please spread out what they're doing. Put it on Twitter, put it wherever it is you advertise your own promotions. I'm sure they would appreciate the shout outs because they're two very decent people. I happen to like them very much. I actually love them both. So I wish them well. I really do. This is I think their first joint venture, like for a routine thing. And I'm here for it. I want to see it. They're two really big personalities. And I love watching them together. The last time they did an interview together, I laughed so hard I fucking cried. So it was just like, okay, they're two very unique perspectives. And I know that Jessica has a lot of insight in this area. I know Shizzy has dealt with this as well, but from the girl's point of view, I'm gonna stress, her point. However, I do not want anybody walking away thinking that I'm purely for Johnny and not Amber. I don't like Amber, not because she's a woman, not because because she's a fucking liar and a psychopath. She's evil. People like her are evil. They're monsters. And they get off on ruining other people's lives. I mean, if you look at their body of work, they don't care about anybody but themselves. I mean, surface level, they'll pretend to care about other people, but it's always about them. The narrative always goes back to them and how they're not getting what they're owed, and everybody's out to get me, and they're not good enough. They're not like me. There's this inflated sense of self where they feel like the world should be bowing to them because they're so awesome and they're so wonderful and nobody gets it like I get it. Like, really? Stop. I don't care who you are. You don't know everything. You have tons to learn. And the only thing I respect is somebody who has the balls to learn it. Go out, just learn something. Learn how to be a better person. Learn how to be a human being and not a piece of shit. How about that? But these people never will. So I just write them off. I just won't talk to them. I won't engage no matter what vile things they say. That I've been around these people all my life. Hell, I was raised by one. So it's, well, by two, actually. Fuck. Anyway. Everybody thinks it's a buzzword. Narcissism is a buzzword. It's not. It's just a label they were finally able to give something that they knew existed for a very long time. There seems to be a real surge of it now because we were locked up for so long. And narcissists thrive by using isolation on people. There's nothing like a captive audience. And they had a lot of captive audiences for a long time. That's where they grew their power. So, enough doom and gloom for me. Those are your 5 ways to spot a covert narcissist. There are other kinds. There are malignant narcissists, and there's plain old everyday narcissists. There's all different shades of the rainbow. So anyway, check some of my videos out. Go over to Winning Reality and check out his series on narcissism. It's excellent. They're even shorter blurbs than mine, and they hit direct. It's just boom, 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 boom. He has a whole narcissism playlist. I think it's one of his very first that he ever did. And it's how I met him. He was talking about narcissistic people, and I popped into chat and I was backing him up. And from then it was just a matter of time before we put our heads together and said, hey, I get you. Like, I understand you. Let's tackle this thing together, combine our efforts. And we did, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm hoping to look forward to Jess and Shiz having a very beautiful thing when it comes to this as well, because there's so much from that trial that can change your life. It really can. To see him go through this and be as courageous as he was, as affected and strong as he was, and how evil she was, it's a remarkable thing. It was a once in a lifetime event for me. And I don't really go back to it and visit it because it's very hurtful. I spent a long time hurting for him, hurting with him. But I made great strides in the year that followed in overcoming my own traumas, because I looked at him and said, if he could do that on national TV and then global TV, bitch, you could sit at a computer and talk to people and say, hey, this is what happened to me and this is what I'm doing about it. So really, he helped galvanize this whole channel. I owe it to Johnny Depp for doing what he did, for standing up for himself. I owe it to Nick Rekieta for convincing me that I was doing so many things because someone told me to, not because I wanted to. They weren't even beneficial. They were actually quite harmful. Yeah, and I have all the friends that I've met along the way, and I've learned to love myself. I've learned to love others, and to cut the people out of my life that are toxic. I couldn't do that before because even losing a toxic person was too much. Now I don't give a shit. Now I'm like, get the fuck out. There's the door. Like, there you go. Bye. And for most people, that doesn't apply to all. I'm sorry, guys. I keep losing my voice. I try to get like a word out and it's just gone. It's just on the air. So anyway, I apologize for the shitty video, but I just want to get it out there and put it out before they did their show so that you would, get a heads up and go over and watch them. I know I'll be there, and I hope to see you in chat. Until then, remember Shizzy and Jessica doing the rewatch of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial starting tonight, October 20th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 3:30 p.m. Pacific. Until then, I will see you in the funny papers. Bye.